My name's Adrian Younge. I've always loved music. I look at myself as like a hip-hop producer that went back to the late 60s, early 70s to make modern music. I don't use any digital equipment. New music to me are old records I've never heard before.
Sonically, black music is in a bad condition. As far as urban radio, it's terrible. If you have a #1 record, you could be top of the charts for like 100 weeks. It don't mean you sold a record. If you look at the track record and watch the movie, you know how different artists' careers are gonna end. It's not gonna be any future in it. Who in this time period right now they're gonna make a movie about in 50 years? Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, Sam Cooke. This generation, I don't know. Nah, R&B, love rap. I always think MCs, it was just a certain steez that they had to put out there. And that was all of them. 1,000 kids. How you gonna not do that?
Right.
You cannot sing Luther Vandross. So I don't care if you like the hardest rapper in the world. You was out. Never too much, never too much, never too much. So that's just our people. That's what we do.
You can have the musical language and not have the people who's able to capture the sonics. To me, his music sounds like it's a sample. And it's not. His main choice of instrument is the bass. Very few musicians that takes the bass position has been able to really inspire, influence, and grow music genres. You gotta go back to Mingus. Adrian writes the music first, and he connects that drum and bass together. He's on to something.
People refer to what I do as nostalgic. We're not using plugins. We're not using a synthesizer that's emulating a guitar sound. We're using real instruments. And when people hear that sound, it triggers something in their heart, in their mind. Black culture has just been running itself to the ground. And it's synonymous with the popularization of rap music. I'm a hip-hop dude till the day I die. I feel like in a lot of modern music, there's a sameness. Somebody writes a song, somebody makes a beat on a laptop. The end product is a thin-sounding emulation of what music should be versus the golden era of hip-hop. They're still using tape. They're still using microphones. MCs are not rapping 30 times to make one take. They're owning human error, the nucleus of great art, and real music has that.
When you think about the sonics of music, sound travels at 1,120 feet per second through many frequencies, whether the higher hertz or the lower hertz. We catch all spectrums. I had to talk about how many notes is there in music, and I told him it's only 7 notes. And he corrected me and said, no, there's 12 notes. But at the end of the day, it's only 5 notes. Everything else is a division up. But the 7 is similar to that God quality. The blues scale is a 5-note scale. And 5 in mathematics is power. And that's truth. And we constantly create that. Rock and roll is a byproduct of blues. Hip hop, byproduct of blues. Popular music itself. If you take that back to the Asian scale, it's still a 5-tone scale. And the Asians picked up their ideas from their integration with the Africans. So to define it, it's undefinable.
I'm a collector of sound, meaning I'm like a chameleon. I pass by something, I got it. In my neighborhood when I grew up, there was always a house playing some music in the background. I can remember fights in the streets with like a husband and a wife fighting in the middle of the street, and I would hear like, I never knew love before. So every time I hear that song, I see that fight. If there was ever a disaster in America, the music would change. When I was walking to New York, I watched the first plane go in the building.
Are you serious?
Promise to God. And then I watched both the buildings come down. 3 months later, got back, I told the bus driver, drive past Sunset. Nobody. Turn on the radio. They were playing Bob Marley songs like One Love, Let's Get Together, and they couldn't play any of the songs on their playlist. We're comfortable. Kendrick Lamar, when I first heard his music, was kind of talking in a different way about his life. The truth always resonates.
I woke up this morning and figured I'd call you in case I'm not here tomorrow. I'm hoping that I can borrow a peace of mind. I'm behind on what's really important. My mind is really distorted. I find nothing but trouble in my life. I'm fortunate I'm
stuck in a certain world that I don't want to get out of. You know, some people are like, oh, Premier stuff always has the same, even this hi-hat's the same. But the people that say that could never do what I do. Next joint ain't gonna be no hi-hat. Now tell me how it sound now. People have said that, oh, I use the same hi-hat, okay. But is it funky though? How's it feel?
38.
I thought that was special.
I'm more of a feel guy. If it feels good, let it rock.
You all niggas, you about to catch it.
Yeah, 38. Yeah. Now if you wanna go to war, nigga, we can meet. Gangsters move in silence and we don't speak. Certain way that
In 96, I was recording on an 8-track Tascam Porta Studio. My parents bought me a Foxtex digital hard drive recorder, and I was super excited. I didn't get a digital recorder. I don't have to buy cassette tapes or anything, and it's just digital. It's great. It's clean. Digital's clean. You know, that's what everybody was telling me. Started recording, and I thought something was wrong because of the way it sounded. My drums weren't hitting. Everything sounded thin, and I literally thought I was doing something wrong. I said, oh my God, there's a difference between tape and digital recording. Took that machine back, got my 8-track, and started living this arguably archaic life of having everything authentic, never accepting anything less.
But when I first heard this stuff, I was like, man, how'd they get this to sound like this? This is incredible. It's the right kind of dirt that matches with the way I like to sing, you know. One of the major things I always wind up doing in the studio is trying to dirty up the mics because of the digital age. My last album, we were in the studio for days trying to find the sounds. When I first was signed, it still had 2-inch analog. It all changed in like 1 year. We had to shift to Pro Tools, and that's the way the engineers worked from then out. It's just too clean, just missing that hiss. Like, how do we find the hiss? So, you know, it was just fine. Turn the fans on, blow. Just trying to recreate the random white noise that analog tools have. That was one of the things that caught me when I listened to the track.
Then I forgot.
I decided that I wanted to go out to LA just to start thinking about new music, and Adrian said, you should come past my studio. It knocked me out because everything was analog, and the dirt was just, he had a mic there. I'm telling you, I felt like, man, my voice sounds like we didn't have to think about finding the sound because it was just there. So we can just create. Next thing I know, I guess we're doing an album, 10 songs in 4 days. That's unheard of.
I lay with you. White turns to gray. I lay with you.
When I would go to my little studio to make a song, I would say I want to make a beat that sounds like some Dark RZA shit. I need to find a sample with some organs and strings or something. So I'll go through hella records looking for like an organ type thing or a string type thing. Until I found something. What could I do to manipulate this to give me a certain dark sound? Now I walk into this room and I create a sample in my head. And I record it how I want it to sound. So when I say everything is vinyl based, is what would I have heard on this record that I'm playing in my imagination? A rare record from Hungary in 1971 that's like this band that wanted to be the Beatles but weren't as good. Their recording was all fucked up, but that recording is what we think is super dope, that a hip-hop dude would want to hear now, flipped, and with chords opened up for a bridge and a chorus. You see what I'm saying?
Jeff Coon balloons, I just want to blow up. Condos in my condos, I want to row up. Christie's with my missy, live at the MoMA. Bacons and turkey bacon, smelly aroma.
So I play guitar as if I'm one of these Hungarian dudes that listen to American music all day and I'm trying to be like them, you know what I'm saying? I play drums like Idris Muhammad, but I'm never as good because there's no cafes for me to play drums and I play in my room all the time. I use those perspectives.
I collect sounds, visuals. It allows me to put myself in a certain space and make music based on what I'm feeling sonically. Not that I want to copy it, I want to feel like that. I'm never going to sound like the Spinners totally. I'm never going to be Stevie Wonder. I'm never going to be Donny Hathaway. I can put myself in a certain space and make music based on what I'm feeling, but I can sit in a room and dream something up. That's what I mean, a collector of sound. That's the artist side of me. That's the thing that people laugh about. Like fuck that artist shit, I'm gonna make some dough. And for me, I'm gonna do both. I've always said I was blessed and lucky because I was only making records for myself. I was just fortunate that people liked the records. The Mighty Clouds of Joy, the Gospel Keynotes, mainly Southern groups. Mahalia Jackson, and James Cleveland, early Jackson 5, The Temptations, Smokey Robinson, the First Family of Soul, grabbing 45s off the back of cereal boxes. All of that energy of a neighborhood talent show, see a little sign on the pole, $500, win this contest. Run down the street, put a band together, you know, and all these people that were really good and better than me. So anything that I did, I had to figure it out. I had to like it a whole lot, and that's how I am now. If you grew up listening to David Ruffin, you want to make people love you for a long time. That's my thing. You want people to take your music, make it not be about you.
I'm from the planet of Parliament, George Clinton and James Brown, and old cameo records, Fatback Band, and anything from Parliament to Bootsy to Funkadelic. I'm from that same planet, and a lot of people can't really go there.
I like this one. Just let it go, Pring.
I was like, wait a minute, you know, ever since James Brown, no matter what the time signature is, I always started on the one.
Put your motherfucking hands up. My job is to move the crowd, move the motherfucking crowd. Put your motherfucking hands up.
I respect that.
The whole spiritual aspect of the music has kind of taken a shift. I think where most of our background and general charge would be from going to church and singing on a choir. That whole experience is not the same. More and more people, they didn't grow up in church. You know, they didn't start singing in church. Their journey to this music is different. It used to be in the school systems. It's not that same narrative where you would get a certain spiritual thing from maybe a God or love, that whole thing is replaced with a different God, which is money. A lot of the songs, the main drive behind it is revenue. But that's the whole concept of where blacks are right now. That's because we have a lot more opportunities than we did in the past. So instead of having a lane to collect revenue, we have a lot more time to be retrospective and inward thinking about dreaming. So the yearning was deep or something else, you know. But that narrative has changed. So now we want to play catch up. We want to generate status and generate a different position of power. That's the mind state. That's the new God. That's the new yearning. The thing that would have made you complete, making an artistic piece and loving it. Now, the new gratification, the new thing is to have money. You know, maybe after everyone gets that, they'll go back to the blues. But right now, it's like, fuck that. You gon' want me because I got this shit. You can't resist all the shit I got. You know what I'm saying?
G. You know what I mean? Simple mathematics is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and G is for what? God. Gladys Knight and the people that wrote her music, they said start everything with G and you won't go wrong. But then you got somebody like Stevie Wonder, and he seems to stay in the B flat scale. Right. So when we start on that A minor, now A, you know, in mathematics they say A is for Allah. We start a little bit below that because we give respect to the maker. So we do A minor. But that scale, you know, which is relative to C, that scale is a powerful scale. We write in that scale a lot. I've been examined by a music doctor, and he said when I talk, my tone is A minor. And that's why I'm so attracted to that. You know what I mean? And I think us as black people are attracted to it as well. It's something that's secondary but necessary. 441 kilohertz, which is the sample rate of most things, is 44.1. That's A. That's A. But 440 is what we probably say at. That's A minor.
People say, you know, I hear your music and it sounds old, but it sounds new at the same time. Why is that? The reason why is because I'm making music for tomorrow. I'm trying to create timeless music.